Everybody, welcome to the Al's Barbecue Show segment, pregame segment on Nuga Radio 92.7 tonight with John Christopher Clanton. On the Sports Guys, we'll be showing up with John about 10 after 7. But a couple things I want to go over before we go on there. If you're looking for a great guy to follow, this is no joke. I've got a friend out in Oklahoma, Huff Daddy Barbecue, David Huff. Go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and follow David Huff. Huff Daddy Barbecue. David is a wonderful guy, and you talk about a dude that can cook he's a competition barbecue cook, but he's an even better backyard barbecue cook rather. And if you want to get some good tips, he did a lamb last week that was just out of sight. And he takes you through it step by step, shows you all the tricks of the trade, so to speak. So if you're looking for somebody interesting to follow in the barbecue world on Instagram and especially on YouTube to watch all his videos, Huff Daddy Barbecue. I cannot recommend David enough. He's a great guy, and you will really enjoy following David. Another thing, today was a big release. I got mine today. Yesterday was a release. Aaron Franklin's Franklin Steak hit the stands. I got mine sent to me today. Pre-ordered it on Amazon. It was released yesterday and got to the gas station today. I was going to bring it and forgot it. I was looking at it while I was at work. Photography is just unbelievable. The recipes are great. He goes into some really, really, really deep background on meat and steak. It's not out there, but it's interesting. It's stuff I've never. Of course, I'm no great steak person, but I'm like everybody else. I can make a good steak. But Aaron really goes into it pretty deep from what I've read. Just what I've read. I only had like 20, 30 minutes. I only got to read like 100 pages, but it's really good. He really goes in deep. So you pick it up if order it on Amazon or your favorite bookstore, whatever that might be. Aaron Franklin Steaks, and it's out on newsstands and on Amazon.com, of course. Hey, don't forget, tomorrow night at 7, my neighbor Frank Blair will be joining me to my left, and we'll have the Al's Nest Barbecue Show right here live on Facebook. Our special guest tomorrow night will be Chef Seth of the Food Envy food truck. If you ever wanted to know about food truck business, if you ever thought about, hey, I'd like to own a food truck, well, Seth will be here, and he will answer all your questions about the food truck business. Seth is a chef. He's worked at places like the Bald-Headed Bistro. He knows his way around the kitchen. He can cook. Seth can do the 5-star stuff, and he can do barbecue too. And he'll be with us tomorrow night for the full hour. So we're looking forward to having Chef Seth of the Food Envy food truck. They were at the Commons in Collegedale this past Sunday, serving the barbecue tacos, and they just killed it. The lines were all around his truck. He said they did over 35 servings of the barbecue taco alone, and Chef Seth does some great barbecue. So tune in tomorrow night for that. And tonight at 9 o'clock, go to YouTube is the best place to watch because they've got a great chat room. You can go to the Barbecue Central show with my friend Greg Rempe. He's on every Tuesday night at 9 o'clock. Now, folks, you all watch my show, and I appreciate it. All the people we have that follow us on our Al's Nest Barbecue Facebook page, we appreciate it. We have a lot of fun. We hope that we pass along some information to you that's interesting. It's interesting to us. It's interesting interacting with our guests and our people watching, as Frank does on Facebook. But if you want to watch the big guy, the major league, Greg Rempe on the Barbecue Central show, he's the guy. His guest tonight will be Meathead from Amazing Ribs, and he'll be on for the first full hour. And on the second hour, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but barrel cookers are all the rage now. At my barbecue supply stores, you can see behind me the new signage courtesy of Willie Spurgeon. He just got that up today, and I wanted to show everybody. We sell the pit barrel cooker, which is only $299, and it does a great job cooking barbecue. You can buy barrels anywhere from $100 up to, gosh, I've seen them as high as, $1,200 for just a barrel cooker. But the fellow that's going to be on Greg's show tonight has a special barrel he's made, and I'm really interested to see it. It's got some sort of a vortex, one of those, a plate. You remember years ago when you'd be watching TV and they had that infomercial on about the car. You placed that fan-looking thing in your intake, and it didn't move. But what it was supposed to have done, they made it look like it moved and it moved like a turbo, but it didn't. They tried to make you think that, but it had splines in it, and the idea was on the intake when the air entered your engine, it twirled the air, making it more powerful, giving you more horsepower at the engine, not so much at the wheels. Well, this what I saw in the pictures, this fellow has the same. Basically, I think, and if I'm wrong, we'll know tonight. But I think it's going to be very similar to that in this barrel, and it would work great in a barrel cooker if you could get air to come through a vortex and spin. That would be like having a rotisserie in your barrel. So I'm really interested in seeing him. He'll be on in the second hour of Greg's show, and on the last part of the second hour, Greg's going to have an open segment. So if you want to call his show, he'll have the number up on the screen. By all means, call and he'll engage you. Now, when you call, to make sure you turn the computer down, because if it's up, he gets a little testy. If he can hear himself, the feedback. Everyone in Chattanooga knows how to call talk radio. We've been calling talk radio for 35 years now. We all know turn the radio down, listen to the host on the telephone. We get it. A lot of people in the country never had talk radio, or they never bothered to call, so they don't get it. So make sure you turn your computer down, listen to the phone, listen to Greg in the phone, and you'll be okay. If you don't, you might get yelled at, because sometimes he likes to yell on the internet, but it's funny. But that comes on, that starts at 9 o'clock tonight. And folks, I'm going to tell you, that's the Major League Barbecue show in this country. When Greg Rempe calls you, you go on his show. You don't say no. He gets the biggest barbecue names in the business, and they all show up on Tuesday nights on the Barbecue Central show with Greg Rempe. But we appreciate you tuning in on Wednesday nights to our little show. Frank and I have a good time doing it. If we didn't, we wouldn't do it, and we enjoy interacting with the guest. And occasionally we get up there to 500 or 600 views, and we've had as many as 1,000 before, depending on the guest. But we do it. We like our best guests are the local guys like Chef Seth tomorrow on the Al's Nest Barbecue Show. We'll be talking food truck business. We'll talk barbecue and barbecue business and all kinds of fun stuff like that. All right, what we're going to do now, we are going to call the radio station. I think I've got the number queued up. I do. There we go. Okay, I see what I did. Hang on. John Christopher will be picking up the telephone in just a few moments. We'll be talking barbecue. We're going to be talking about layering rubs.
You have dialed a number that is not available from your calling area.
Well, I disagree with you, ma'am, so I'm going to call again. What do you mean not available? 1 4 2 3 8 0 0. Let's see. Hang on a minute. 8949. They have a weird number. The first three numbers of their phone number start with 800. So when you call them, you think you're calling an 800 number. But Chris will be picking up in just a second.
On Nougat Radio 92.7.
We are on hold now.
Radio show.
Welcome back to the Sports Guys. I'm John Christopher. You know what time it is? I know what time it is. It's Al's Nest Barbecue and my favorite guy, Steve Ray.
John
Steve
Christopher,
Ray,
what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Good evening to you.
What's up, my friend? Boy, you had the whole crew in the studio today. The boss, the sales gal.
I did.
Interesting.
Yeah, they do this all the time. They help out all these other shows, so I had to get them to help me a little bit. 'Cause I like having them come in there. I mean,
Hey.
it's funny because the morning shows, they're all involved in it in different ways. And if I can just get a few more accounts, I could have my own producer, she says. So I'm going to work on getting a few more accounts.
Hey, Chris, I'm going to say one thing. You guys do when you sign on new advertisers, you do take care of them. Since I've been doing it with you, just a month and a half, you've already been by the station 3 times, just checking on me, looking in there, and I appreciate that. I really do.
I appreciate you being a part of this. I love doing this barbecue thing. What is the tip of the week?
What we're going to talk about tonight, Chris, is layering flavors on barbecue. And what we're going to be talking most about tonight is chicken and ribs. When you talk about pork butt and briskets, the flavor that if you want to impart flavor in them, you have to inject them, get the flavor down inside the meat. But tonight we're going to talk about ribs and chicken because those are the 2 pieces of meat that you barbecue that you can get flavor onto simply by outside the layering of different seasonings and rubs and then cooking them with that on there. And I've got right here from my Facebook crowd, I'm going to hold it up and I want to tell you about it. I've got Butcher's Barbecue Grilling Addiction and I've got Butcher's Barbecue Honey Rub. Now, both of these rubs, Chris, were used by David Bosca, the person who owns Butcher Barbecue, in the 2018 Jack Daniels World Championship that he won. Every piece of meat that he turned in had Grilling Addiction on it, but it wasn't just Grilling Addiction. Like on his ribs, David uses a layer of Honey Rub, Grilling Addiction, and Private Rub that he has, that we sell too, David's Private Rub. He layers his ribs with 3 different layers of rub. And he does it with the same thing with his chicken. So you can impart flavor on the meat that you're cooking if it's a small piece of meat from the outside. And the reason I like to go with the Grilling Addiction first, because it has just enough salt in there. Salt is the only thing that will penetrate meat. All the other flavors kind of hang around on the top. But the salt will get down in there. It'll make the meat taste better. It'll open your taste buds. So when you bite into the chicken, bite into the rib, you will taste the honey rub, the private rub, the premium rub, the hickory smoke rub, the pecan rub, any of the rubs that you chose to put on the meat. Your mouth will taste that. And Chris, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it every time we're together on Tuesday nights. The first thing that your customer, your friends, or a judge tastes is the last thing you put on that meat. And when you're using Butcher Barbecue rubs and seasonings, they will taste that. And you'll be the ultimate, seriously, the king of the cul-de-sac.
I'm going to ask you a really dumb question.
I'm used to that. Go ahead.
Would it be better to take an injector and inject the chicken with said spice or whatever, and then take the rubs and put on the outside of the same thing? Would that make the chicken better if you injected it and then put that type of on top too?
Chris, it does. And what I'm holding up right now for my Facebook audience, what I'm going to tell you about, is Butcher Barbecue's Bird Booster Original Flavor Injection. He makes an injection for chicken. If you're doing a whole chicken, a whole turkey, anything poultry, even is something as small as chicken wings, chicken legs, or chicken thighs, the Bird Booster Original Flavor Chicken Injection is made just for that. And you can put that, you can mix it with, some people will mix it with water. Some people mix it with apple juice. And I'm going to tell you, Chris, what I like to mix it with sometimes, and I get a little crazy with it, is mango juice. And you talk about something that tastes good. When you get a chicken thigh or chicken leg, you inject a little bit of that chicken injection with mango juice, get a little Caribbean flavor going, and then you serve that. People bite into that because they're not used to tasting that. And man, it just knocks them dead. You'll love it.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you know, a lot of the times people are used to. I know one of the first things that I learned about barbecuing, and it's really smart, is to have a pair of gloves when you're handling the chicken, so that you don't cross-contaminate. And, you know, my dad would always tell me cook chicken on one side and meat on the other. But in this case, it would be better to have a pair of gloves on while you're messing around with the chicken, correct?
Yeah. You know, if you can get outside, and if it's nice enough to get outside and prep your chicken, that's the way to do it. Now, I'm kind of, I do mine a different way. I've got a spot out at my garage. I've got a kitchen in my garage I built. I will actually put chicken in the freezer and take it out, you know, maybe like a half hour to 40 minutes before I'm ready to work with it. So I don't freeze it, Chris, but I keep it, but the skin is still really tight, and it's easier to work with. And then the juices don't splash around so much. But yeah, get with chicken, get you a special place, but don't overreact. You can clean the stuff up. Don't let cleaning up after chicken stop you from injecting chicken or doing something special. And by the way, I want to give Antonio Tate, a chef friend of mine, credit for that mango juice idea. We did a pork butt with that one time, Chris, where he concocted a Caribbean flavor, and I'm not kidding. Honest to Pete, it was one of the best pork butts I ever tasted in my life.
I think if I win the lottery, I'm going to open up a barbecue joint next to your place.
Hey, wouldn't that be cool? I could cook it and you could serve it.
That's right. We make a lot of money doing that.
Probably not, but you'd have money from the lottery, so it wouldn't matter.
That's true. Now, we have talked about this every week, and I'm going to do that. You have particular types of barbecue grills that you sell. And for people who have never heard this segment before, give them a real quick version of what they are, how easy they're to be used, and that type of thing.
Chris, we sell the Pit Barrel Cooker. I'm going to move it right up to the top of my screen for our Facebook audience. It is a very inexpensive vessel. It's $299. It comes in a big box. Everything in that box is ready. Everything that you need is in that box. You can actually take that thing home, and you can be cooking 45 minutes after taking it out of the box. It's that easy. It works on the same principle. In the drum, the smoke will tend to circulate like a vortex surrounding your meat, and it kind of resembles a rotisserie. It cooks all sides of the meat because in most instances you hang the meat instead of letting it sit. This thing, if you like pork spare ribs, baby back ribs, beef ribs, you need this. If for no other reason, Chris, to cook ribs and chicken, because you can hang them with ease, and they make that juice drips down on the charcoals, and the flavor steam comes up, flavoring the chicken. You've got the charcoal and your pecan wood, hickory wood, or my favorite, oak wood in the fire surrounding that. You've got the rubs on there. You've got the grilling butters on there just dripping down in the charcoal, and all that steam coming up. It's trapped in there, and it just sticks to the meat. And then when you take those ribs out, you wrap them with a big stick of butter. And then when you take them off and serve them to your friends, you have literally got a rib that any competition barbecue person would die for. They're that good, and they're that easy to make.
So we're going to talk a little ribs here before. As far as injecting ribs and that type of thing, you'd have to do each individual area. You wouldn't be able to do like a chicken part is just one part. Ribs are on that.
Yeah.
They're not like one part. Would you have to inject each part of the meat?
Yeah.
Before you cook?
Yeah, injecting ribs it's hard. Well, not hard. It's tedious because the meat's so small. But Chris,
Right.
A lot of contest guys, they do inject ribs. I never did, but a lot of them do. I always think you can get flavor on the outside, and because the meat is such a small piece of meat, the judges can taste the flavor, and I want them to taste the tenderness of my ribs when I turn them in. But you can inject and introduce flavor into that rib. Chris, a lot of people in steak contests inject the steak with a buttery concoction. And same way with ribs, anything butter. Butter makes everything taste better. I've told the story a million times. You can take a baked potato, you take it out of the oven, you eat it, and you don't put anything on it. It's just but you put a little butter and salt on it. It's greatest food in the world. So it's there again. It's the first thing they taste is the last thing you put on it.
So when as long as we're on the steak thing, if you go to inject it with a butter type stuff, and you want your steak, say like I do, a mid rare, is it going to be easier to cook because there's so much juice inside of it, or does it take a little longer to cook?
No, you won't see any difference in the time. Most of the butter it'll just stay there. It'll boil. Chris, if I had to guess, I'm not a food scientist, but if I had to guess, I would say that steak would probably cook even a little bit quicker because you'll have some extra juice inside heating up and helping with the cooking process. I'll bet I'm right on that. Meathead from Amazing Ribs is going to be on Greg's show tonight, and I may email him that question because Meathead will know. He's a food scientist, and he knows the answers to questions like that.
So, if you were put up to the last minute to do barbecue, and you're going to cook something, you had just a day's notice or whatever, what's the first thing you're going to put? What kind of meat are you going to cook?
I'm going to do brisket. If you give me 24 hours, I'll cook you the best brisket you ever had. Because I am so confident in my brisket skills. A lot of people are afraid of it. I am so confident in my brisket skills that I can turn you a brisket in 24 hours that you'll be not only proud to serve your friends, customers, or guests, they will ask for more. I am so confident in my brisket skills. So
with this part of the country, brisket probably is the number one thing to cook, and burgers and that type of thing. What is the hardest thing to cook in this area that's really popular?
Chris, for me, it's ribs. I've really got to pay attention on my ribs. For some reason, I was never that great of a rib cook. Now I can do them and I can make them taste good, but that's my crutch, so to speak. A lot of people it's brisket. A lot of people say, "Oh, I've never cooked a brisket. Don't want to cook a brisket. Afraid of it." I'm not afraid of that. Another go-to meat though for the beginner, if you were to ask, what should the beginner cook first? Cook a whole chicken. You can't mess up a whole chicken, and then do a pork butt, and then do some ribs, and then when you're comfortable, when you know your smoker, 9 times out of 10, Chris, the reason people fail on a cook their first time is they don't understand what they're cooking on. It's not the meat. It's their vessel. They don't have a clue how to use it. They don't know where the hot spot is. See, on my pit barrel cooker, I know where the hot spots are on that. If I have a grate on there, I know where to move the meat. I can rotate the meat. I know where to hang it. And more importantly, I know where not to hang it. So it's knowing the vessel that you're cooking on.
So you have to be knowledgeable of the vessel that you're cooking on.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what makes barbecue a science and what makes it so fun. It's what makes it such a sport in competition. These guys, when these guys get brand new pits, Chris, and I've done it too, we'll load them up with biscuits. We'll crank them up, and we'll crank them up to like 300 degrees, and we'll put 2 or 3 dozen biscuits, depending on the size of the smoker. And the reason we do that, we look and we see which biscuits get done quick. We're not going to, you don't do it to eat it. You just put it in there to see which ones get done the quickest. There you identify your hot spots, and then you identify your cool spots. And that's just
I'm sorry.
That's just knowing, that's just knowing your equipment. It's like you in there, Chris. You know what button to push. You know how to make a mic live. You know how to turn a mic down. You know your equipment. The same way in cooking.
So, real quickly, we got about 5 minutes left here. Barbecue sauce. Mm-hmm. People can go to the box store, and because they're not advertised on my show, so I just kind of use the box store thing. And they'll get the said brand. But is it cheaper or better to come up with your own versus coming up with one that is, say, better, making one than buying one?
Yeah, well, Chris, that's a great discussion, and there have been bar fights over that. Who's got the best barbecue sauce? I've got a friend in Cleveland. He swears that his barbecue sauce is the greatest barbecue sauce that ever was. I personally, Steve Ray talking, I've tried to make barbecue sauces before. It didn't work. There's nothing that David Bosca doesn't sell that I could beat. See what I'm saying? David Bosca, the guy at Butcher Barbecue, the sauces that I carry, all of his sauces have won awards. I can't make a sauce that good. You can't. 9 out of 10 people can't that are listening to us tonight. So, sauce is, I don't think it's worth the time and effort that it takes, because I'd rather spend my time and effort doing other things in barbecue, knowing my vessel better, knowing how long to cook, temperatures, the different muscles in meat. That, to me, that's more interesting. Now, a lot of people, what's interesting is making sauce and rubs. That just doesn't interest me. I think that the guys that have done it, and they know it the best. And I'll say this, Johnny Trigg from Texas, a world barbecue champion, he says he buys his rubs because he said there's nothing that he can make that's better than what's on the shelf today.
Well, and you got about 3 minutes here, and I got another good question for you.
All right.
So you're really good about telling how to, put the sauces in, the rubs and all that. What is your all-too best thing to go to for side items when you cook whatever barbecue you're cooking?
Wow.
We'll say rib.
Well, I tell you, Chris, on everything, I'm not a side item guy. I don't know how to cook, but there's things I do love, and number one is mayonnaise-based coleslaw. I love it, and I love the way my mom makes it. She makes it very simple. I can copy that. To me, it's good. To a lot of people that have tasted, they say it's too bland, nothing special. That's the way I like it. And the other one is New York style potato salad. I love it. If you look in my refrigerator at the gas station at any time, Chris, there's a tub of New York style potato salad. I just love it. It's mashed potatoes. It's cold. It's got all kinds of spices in it. I just love this stuff. I mean, I just love it. When I go to a barbecue restaurant, that's what I get. I'll get coleslaw. Usually you get a meat in 3. I'll get coleslaw, and I'll get potato salad, New York if they've got it, and a side order of collard greens. I love collard greens. I can't make them. I love them.
I have a favorite. So I have some baked beans that I make.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, and I'm a potato salad type of potato salad kind of guy. That's my go-to. Real quickly, as we get through this segment, tell them where you're at. Tell them what specials you got on tires and what your gas prices are and all that good fun stuff.
Steve Ray's Midnight Oil, $2.49 on the gas. We've got all 3 grades of non-ethanol fuel, regular, mid-grade, and supreme for your motorcycle, hot rod, leaf blower, whippersnipper, lawnmower, snow blower, whatever you've got that's a small engine, we've got it. Of course, we're the only Michelin and Goodyear dealer in Ooltewah with the best prices. Chris, I can't say it enough. At my place, you buy the tires, you don't buy the building. We've got a great price on tires. And right next door to my gas station is our Owl's Nest barbecue supply store. My friend Willie Spurgeon, my sign man, just finished our signage up front. It looks great. We've got the showroom stocked, and we're getting grill grates in, and we'll talk about those one night. We're getting barbecue gurus in, and we'll talk about those one night, in addition to the barbecue rubs, the pit barrel cookers, the disposable. Chris, I sell things that you need. If you're looking for aprons, if you're looking for pot holders, if you're looking for, little frying pans that you think are cute, I don't have that stuff. That's not me. I sell barbecue supplies. If you're going to do a barbecue Saturday, you can come into my store and you can get everything that you need but the meat to make a real, a professionally type of barbecue, whether it be pork butt, brisket, ribs, or chicken. I will get you with the stuff that you need to make your food the best the first time you do it.
Well, great. Thank you so much for being a part of the Sports Guys this week.
You bet,
Hope
Chris.
you have a wonderful week.
Enjoy
it. Sounds pretty good. And nothing on the other end for you?
Nope, we're good, Chris. I sure appreciate you, and I can't wait till next Tuesday for the Owl's Nest barbecue segment on the Sports Guys, and we'll be listening to you all week.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to Sports Guys here on Nooga Radio 92.7. Steve Ray.
There you go, folks. 92.7, the new talk radio station in in Chattanooga, 92.7 Nuga Radio. Give them a try. Jeff Styles in the morning. They've got a full day of local programming. Dave Hooker from 11 to 1. Dave Hooker is the most connected sports journalist in this town, and he is on 92.7 Nuga Radio. If in sports in the midday, and that's a great thing all itself. The only place you can get that is on 92.7 here in Chattanooga. I got to go. Everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And don't forget, we'll see you here tomorrow night at 7 for the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. And don't forget, tonight at 9, go to YouTube, call up the Barbecue Central Show, or go to Facebook, the Barbecue Central Show, and you can see Greg Rempe and his special guest from Amazing Ribs Meathead tonight. 2-hour Barbecue Central Show, the major league of barbecue shows in this country. And you can see them tonight at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Until tomorrow night, folks, we'll see you. Take care.